Night had fallen over Blackridge town, the kind of night that swallows every sound. The old highway curved along the edge of the forest where the orphanage once stood. Amelia Grant's tires hissed across wet asphalt as fog thickened like smoke. Her grandmother's warnings echoed in her mind. Never take this road after dark. A child's voice calling, her name in a whisper that didn't belong to any living throat. The radio crackled and died. A bell rang once in the distance, low, hollow, ancient. Amelia slowed the car. There, through the mist, a small figure stood in the center of the road. White nightgown soaked in fog. A girl. The brakes screamed. When Amelia blinked, the child was gone. Only a tiny silver locket lay in the beam of her headlights. She stepped out, picked it up, and read the engraving beneath the smear of ash. Lydia. St. Helena's home, 1942. Somewhere beyond the trees, a bell tolled again. At home, Margaret Grant sat awake by the fire. The old woman's eyes widened when Amelia placed the locket on the table. "Where did you find this?" "On Blackridge Road. There was a girl. You shouldn't have touched it," Margaret whispered, voice trembling. That child's spirit was never laid to rest. We left her there." Lightning flashed, revealing the family portrait on the wall. Every ancestor's eyes seemed to glint faintly red for a moment. As if remembering, Margaret began to talk something she'd buried for 80 years. She had once been a young caretaker at St. Helena's Orphanage. The home was supposed to shelter war orphans, but the staff were cruel. Hunger, punishment, locked rooms, and Lydia, the youngest, always silent, always drawing angels on the walls, was their scapegoat one winter night. A candle she wasn't allowed to touch tipped onto the drapes. Fire erupted. The headmistress panicked. Instead of opening the dormitory, she ordered the doors locked to contain the blaze. Dozens of children burned alive, Lydia among them. The staff escaped. They blamed the child. "We called it an accident," Margaret said, tears streaking her wrinkled cheeks. "But it was murder." And now she's remembering. The fire crackled louder. A faint child's giggle echoed from the hallway. Amelia turned slowly. The shadows stretched toward her feet. On the wall, a new drawing had appeared, made of soot. A girl with hollow eyes holding a locket. Then a whisper? "Why did you lock the door?" Her scream died in her throat. The line clicked, dead. The smell of smoke grew thick again. In the mirror across the room, Lydia stood half-burned, watching. The locket missing from her neck. Margaret gasped, clutching her chest. The windows burst open, sucking the air out of the room. Amelia lunged forward, shouting her grandmother's name, but Margaret was staring past her, eyes wide on something only she could see. "She's here for the blood. She knows your name." And from somewhere deep in the fog outside, the bell tolled again, slow, sealing their fate. The curse had awakened. Amelia didn't sleep that night. The bell kept echoing in her head. When the first light of dawn crept through the curtains, the drawings had multiplied. Every wall in her grandmother's house was smeared with childlike soot pictures. Dozens of little figures standing behind one girl with hollow eyes. Margaret hadn't woken since she collapsed. Her pulse was weak. Amelia's trembling fingers opened her laptop. She searched St. Helena Orphanage, Blackridge Fire, 1942. No records, no obituaries, no ruins listed. Almost as if the place had been erased. But one image in an old digital archive caught her attention. Caretakers of St. Helena's home. And there she saw it. A young woman with her grandmother's face, And next to her, the headmistress, Eleanor Voss. The caption beneath read, "All staff presumed dead in orphanage fire, but Margaret had lived," which meant they had lied. A strange courage rose inside her. She picked up the locket, the metal cold as ice. On the back, faint letters had appeared overnight. "Find us." By afternoon, she was driving again toward the forest road. The GPS glitched as she entered the tree line. The fog thickened. The gates appeared out of nowhere, two rusted iron doors half buried in vines. With the words barely visible, "St. Helena's Home for Children." She pushed the gates. Inside the grounds, broken playground swings moved in wind that didn't exist. The central bell tower was still standing. Leaning sideways like a corpse refusing to fall, she stepped inside the ruins. Her flashlight beam trembled across blackened walls. Names were carved in ash: Ethan, Mary, Anna, Lydia, dozens of them. A faint voice echoed, giggles, whispers, footsteps too light to belong to adults. "Play with us." She came back. Amelia froze. Tiny footprints appeared in the dust, circling her. One by one, translucent, burned, some with empty sockets. They just stood watching. "We waited," a little boy said. "She said you'd come." "Who?" Amelia asked, voice shaking. "The one who never sleeps in fire." The bell rang. The children vanished. Only ashes fell from the ceiling. A chill wind rose suddenly, whispering through the ruins. She turned to see a shadow standing at the base of the bell tower, tall, skeletal, its face hidden beneath a charred veil. The ghost of Eleanor Voice, the cruel headmistress. "They were wicked," the ghost rasped. "I purified them." Amelia staggered back. "You killed them." "They were born cursed. The war made them demons. I saved their souls." The ghost's burned hands extended, and the bell above began to sway. From the ashes, the children's ghosts screamed. Amelia ran, diving through a broken doorway as the bell crashed down. Dust exploded. When she looked back, the ruins were gone, replaced by unburned halls, clean and silent as if the orphanage had returned to life. Lydia, alive and whole, holding her locket. "Help us," the little girl whispered, "before she wakes again." Amelia blinked, the orphanage now whole and restored, lit by candlelight instead of decay. The children's laughter filled the air, warm and bright, though she could still smell smoke underneath it. Lydia tugged her hand and led her down a corridor lined with paintings. Each portrait was of a child, smiling but with faint scorch marks at the edges. "She hides them," Lydia whispered. "She hides what she did." At the end of the hall stood a locked door. The sign above it read, "Staff only." Lydia handed her the locket. "It opens everything." When Amelia pressed the locket against the keyhole, the lock clicked open. Inside, the staff's quarters were untouched, beds made, journals stacked neatly. She opened one, written in perfect cursive, "Eleanor Voss -1942. The children grow restless," the diary read. "They whisper of the girl Lydia. She sees things that aren't there. I will make her stop." Another entry. "The others fear me, but I serve the Lord through fire. If the body burns, the sin dies with it." The next pages were smeared with black fingerprints, until one last line stood out clearly. "If they return, ring the bell thrice." Suddenly, footsteps echoed behind her. She turned and saw the children again, surrounding her, but now their faces twisted in terror. "She's awake," Lydia whispered. The lights flickered. The walls blackened again. The restored orphanage dissolved back into ruins. From the bell tower above came 3 slow chimes. 1, 2, 3. A scream followed, not human, not from any throat that had ever lived. The headmistress appeared again, her burnt face cracking open like embers, eyes glowing white. No one leaves until the fire ends. The ground split, showing flashes of flame beneath the wooden floorboards. The children clung to Amelia. She shouted, "What do you want from me?" Lydia's soft voice answered, trembling, "To finish it." She understood. The curse wasn't to kill, it was to repeat. Each generation had carried the guilt of the survivors. Lydia's spirit needed truth. Amelia grabbed the diary and ran toward the bell tower stairs. Flames licked her heels. The ghost of the headmistress followed, screeching words from long-dead prayers. When Amelia reached the top, the bell was burning, molten edges glowing red. She screamed and struck it with the locket. The metal shattered, releasing a shockwave of light that flung her across the tower. Below, the ghost dissolved into ash, her voice echoing, "Sin never dies. It only waits." The light faded slowly. Amelia lay amid ashes where the tower had been. The forest was silent again. The locket glowed faintly in her palm, then broke apart inside. A small photograph of Lydia smiling. The orphanage was gone for good. Only its foundation stones remained. But as Amelia stood, she saw dozens of ghostly silhouettes in the fog. The children, now peaceful, walking away into the woods. Lydia turned one last time and mouthed, "Thank you." Amelia whispered, "You're free." Then silence. She returned home days later. Her grandmother had passed in her sleep, peaceful at last. Beside her pillow lay a single black feather and the faint echo of a bell in the distance. Amelia moved away from Blackridge soon after. She rebuilt her life. But sometimes, when fog rolls across her street at night, she hears faint laughter and the sound of a bell. One evening, years later, she received a letter, no return address. Inside was a photograph. The restored orphanage, bright and clean, children playing outside. On the back, written in a child's handwriting, "You promised you'd come back." Her phone began to ring, not her ringtone, a bell, and through her window reflection behind her shoulder stood Lydia once more, burned, smiling. The fire had never truly ended. Some fires never die. Some souls never sleep. And when the bell rings again, you'll know Lydia has found another to remember her name. The whisper fades. The screen flickers. This is not the end, just the next haunting. Subscribe before the next bell tolls.